All right, all right. Welcome to the Real Estate Block Podcast, where we bring on the guests and ask them the hard questions by taking a deep dive in how they built their teams, marketing strategies, systems, and processes, on how they built a machine that spits out consistent deals month after month. Well, the value given in this show will help you create and find consistent real estate deals. Today, I have Cody Hofhine on here. I never thought I would, but I have Cody Hofhine here. He was actually personally my first coach in the real estate game. A matter of fact, I even asked him before this, do you remember me? And he did remember. So very excited to have you on, Cody. What's going on?
Oh, I'm super excited to be here. First and foremost, I got to thank you. You asked me. You said, "Hey, will you be on the podcast?" And it's always an honor to be on podcast. I hope everyone takes opportunities to do this because it's a great way to serve people. I mean, really, if you think about income and impact, hopefully we're searching for impact because income always follows impact. But podcast is a great way to create impact. So I'm grateful for you, man, for putting together a platform that allows people to come out here and hopefully have some kind of impact that then helps them with their income.
Cody, you are just a man of wisdom. I've been following you for a good while now. You're doing some amazing things. And again, we're going to get right into that. Cody, tell us who you are. What were you doing prior to real estate, and why the heck did you even get into this world of real estate?
Oh my goodness. Well, you speed this up however you need to. Don't feel like you can't say, okay, now let's get to this point. Because I'm going to try and share as much as I can just in as quickly as I can. What got me into real estate? Really, I didn't think I'd ever be in real estate growing up. I never had this desire as a young kid, like when I grow up, I'm going to be a real estate investor. But you start to see, I'm a man of faith. So for those that may want to compare it to universe, karma, I call it God. You start to see how everything just happens perfectly for us, even the bad times. So not just the good times, but even the bad times are there to prepare us. In fact, I was on with a mentor this morning, and he talked about how those trolls, the people that are coming after you, he says, just open your heart and be grateful. Like they're there to strengthen you, to make you certain that you're really in to accomplish. Like if you say you're going to here to accomplish a mission, they're there to make you wonder, like, am I really going to follow through this? Do I really believe in this mission? So everything is perfectly happening for us. And if you can believe that, no matter what faith, no matter what background you are, I started to see how everything just started lining up in my life. So it actually was just being an entrepreneur mindset. My dad he was a general contractor, and I worked for him my whole life. I mean, ever since I was 8, wow. I was working for him because he was just an incredible leader as a dad and as like a visionary to get us to think outside the box on how you can grow a business without having to work for someone. So That's where it all started. 2008, I was still working for him, and 2008 was a crisis. So he was doing commercial kind of just shot down quick. My dad, being an incredible dad, said, "Hey, I'm still going to pay you. I don't want to lose you. Like, this is what family does. They stick with each other." And so I got to see and witness firsthand that even a gentleman that was having no income come in, he was willing to take it out of his personal bank to leave me on the paybook. And I learned so many great lessons just from watching my mom and my dad run their business. And I didn't have it in me to allow them to keep doing it. So these uncomfortable moments are necessary in life. I had to have a conversation with my dad and say, "Hey, Dad, I'm going to go get a job for the time being until this comes back. And if it works out in the future, it works out. If not," I remember just being in tears. I mean, this was one of the hardest conversations I've probably ever had to that moment. And my dad was just like, "Yeah, I hate they even have to go." But I went on, and then you start to see how each one of these things started to take place. So I need to be with my dad to learn first and foremost. I then got into sales, selling vinyl fencing of all things. Well, that's where I met my current business partner, Mark Stubler. He was the national #1 vinyl fence salesman in like the Western United States. And so me being not great at research and development, I'm good at the other R&D, rip off and duplicate. So I quickly got to know Mark Stubler and shot up quick in the company. I was second place behind Mark in sales my very first year. And I loved it. I was like, wow, this is who I am. I love sales. I love negotiating. I love the challenge of overcoming any kind of problems to build the solution to then just close the deal.
Right.
In that, to kind of shorten it up, to kind of get this up to date, I met like 5 insurance agents that I sold fence to. And every time they'd say, "Man, you're really good at this. You really should be an insurance agent because you'll never sell a fence to me ever again. These products are lifetime products." why don't you get into insurance? It's like regenerating. Like every year you renew, you get paid again from the same client. And I was like,
right.
this is interesting. So I did. I got into it. I started an insurance agency of all things back in 2010. And because of that, I built a pretty good business of insurance. Well, again, you start to see the details as you look hindsight. Because of that, I had this little thought in my head. Who has like a lot of homes? Who has nice cars? Who has nice homes? And I'm like, investors, real estate investors. So then I started looking up, like, how do I meet real estate investors? And I'm like, oh my gosh, there's this thing called Real Estate Investor Association. I joined it not to learn real estate, Aaron. This is the key product. I didn't learn it to learn real estate. I just went there to learn how to insure all these people that have money, that have rentals, that have multiple homes, multiple cars. And that's how I got into it. 2015, to fast forward, I come home and insurance is still tough. My first year working a lot of hours, not a lack of action, because I put in a ton of action.
Yeah.
I came home 2015. I can remember like it was yesterday. And my wife's like in tears, just absolutely in tears. And I end up just talking to her saying, what's going on? And she says, well, do we put food on the table or do we pay our mortgage? And I'm just thinking, both. Like both? How do we do both?
Yeah.
It wasn't a coincidence that the next day was the Real Estate Investor Association, but I had a different set of ears maybe that day because it was so fresh in my mind that my wife was still worried about how we're going to put food on the table 5 years into the insurance business.
Yep.
So I go to that and this individual talks about wholesaling, and I go up afterwards and talk to him, and I insured his stuff so I could trust him. And I knew what he was talking about was real. So fast forward quickly, I dove into it, got a mentor, and about maybe 35 days later, I did my first deal, and for $24,000. And that was the quickest way of sharing that story, but it wasn't clear that I was going to be in real estate as much as everything had its purpose in my life, good and bad, to get me to where I am today.
No, that's incredible. Like I told you earlier, I have heard this testimonial, and it's definitely a dear testimony that really pushed you into that right direction. Now, I want to get real with you. With who was your first coach?
Yeah.
How did you find that first coach, and why did you even get a coach at that time?
It was necessary. I learned by my first business with insurance. I couldn't rub two nickels together, let alone afford a mentor. In my mind, at least, I thought this.
Mm-hmm.
But because of it, I had to just put on the grind. Like I said, it wasn't lack of action, but I questioned, was the activity the right activity I should have been taking for insurance? And had I taken the right activity, could it have grown into something bigger, better, faster? Yes, I'm certain it would have. So I learned from that mistake that, okay, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this right. I'm going to hire a coach. So it happened to be Tom Kroll with Wholesaling Inc. And short time into it, like I said, he helped me get my first deal. From there, we found a way to, man, how do we really blow up what's going on here? Because I told him my personal story. I said, you don't realize 30 days ago, my wife's crying. Today, we cash our first check for $24,000. Like you don't realize how big game-changing moment this is. And so we end up partner up, and I end up buying half of Wholesaling Inc. And then from 2016 until 2020, when I sold it, we blew that thing up. It was just incredible. But yeah, Tom Kroll's the coach. And yes, I needed a mentor. And I would tell everyone, YouTube University can only go so far. A mentor is going to be able to be with you during those strategic moments that University of Utah, that's my team, but YouTube University it's good. It gives you content, but which content do you follow? And that's where a mentor can keep it really vanilla until you have the basics in place, and then you can kind of open up and start bringing on some other stuff.
Cody, I mean, that's again, you've impacted so many lives, and I don't even think you understand the impact that you've and you're still such a humble man, and you could tell that you've grown over time, even in front of me and through the content that you've been putting out. One thing that you actually you changed my life. And this is something we've had a good number of guests on here yesterday. I did one yesterday as well. We're going to do another one tomorrow. We have some great people on here, but Cody, I mean, you specifically have changed my life because I was in the same situation. I think we talked about this on our very first podcast years ago at that new person who got their first wholesale deal. And for me, it was fighting for my daughter. And I got my first check, I think about 30, 45 days. It was 20 grand. I was able to continuously fight for my daughter. And you always used an analogy, and that was get your first wholesale deal as, I want to have you finish it.
Get your first wholesale. Sorry, say that again.
Sorry, get your first wholesale deal as if somebody is taking your kid.
Taking your kid. Yeah.
Right.
And it can be scary. I know some people are like, wait, you're pretty nasty. You're talking about someone taking my kid. And yes, you do. You, just like you just said it, Aaron, you do your first deal like someone kidnapped your kid and you got 30 days to get your kid back. Here's the mindset behind it, Aaron, if you don't mind me kind of going on to it. The mindset behind this is it's so easy, Aaron, to be busy being busy. But I want to make sure that people listening to this to not ever confuse busy and productive. You can be busy being busy. I was busy being busy in the insurance world. And I could justify why I was doing everything I could to build the insurance business, which to my mindset, that's exactly what I was doing. I wasn't doing it to be away from family. That's the last thing I wanted to do. But I wasn't doing the right action. I was just busy being busy. Productive is a totally different story. And I can promise you, if someone kidnapped one of our kids today, I can promise you I wouldn't be on a podcast today. I can promise you I wouldn't be watching Netflix tonight. I promise you I wouldn't have time to scroll through my phone and look through Facebook and Instagram and compare myself to everyone else in the world. I wouldn't have time for any of this. Why? Because my life just changed. Someone physically took my kid, and I'm going to find a deal in 30 days. Why? Because my why just changed. Someone just took my kid, and I love my kid more than anything, and I want that kid back. I will find a deal in 30 days or less. If you can have that mentality, you'll start to see that if it gets tough, you're not going to be like, oh man, this is too tough. I'm going to sit here and take a break for a minute. No, your kid is on the line. You're not going to take a break. You're going to keep going. You're going to keep absolutely just moving forward. So I'm grateful you still remember that because, gosh,
Cody, I have so many.
It's amazing.
I have so many one-liners from you. We don't have to go in all of them, but
hopefully they're all my good ones.
And I still say them to my team out here in the office as well. But no, I mean, good story. I mean, it does end well. I do have full custody of physical and legal. She's with me full time because of this business and because of the things that you taught me in the very beginning. So again, I just want to thank you for that.
Hey, now, thank you for sharing that because seriously, it's those stuff. I'm getting chills right now. If you could see clearly, I'm getting chills because I love hearing this stuff. This is amazing. Thank you for sharing this.
No, I appreciate it. So Cody, so you get your first deal. You're able to, continue on with things. I mean, how the heck did you get your second deal, your third deal? And then when did you join with Tom Kroll?
Yeah. So it was May of 2015 when I first got into it. 30 days later, I do my first deal, right, for the 24 grand. Here's what I think is the secret sauce to why you need, if you're going to do this, take it very serious and try to just set the goal that you're going to do your first deal in 30 days as well. Is because every day that goes by that you don't get a deal, it works on your mindset and it starts to work against you. It starts to tell you, am I worthy enough for this? Am I good enough for this? Man, maybe I'm not meant for real estate. Man, maybe this is just not for me. And Aaron, I just don't believe in that. I don't believe in that one bit. I believe every one of us, we're created to change first and foremost, which is pretty exciting, meaning things we don't know, we can learn. We're able to do that. We're created for change. Second of all, I believe when you can dedicate that what you're going to do when you win is to bless not just your life, because I do think you need to take care of yourself, but bless other people's lives. I just have a hard time believing that if that's your mindset and that's who you are and you prove that that's what you're going to do, that anyone can do this business. I truly do believe that. But time works against that. It gets 60 days and you haven't done a deal, 90 days and you haven't done a deal. Pretty soon that faith starts to waver. Yeah. Pretty soon that hope starts to diminish. And because of that, many people get out of it before they really even tried it. So I'm all about first deal. So you say, so how in the heck did you get your second deal? Because I got my first deal. Once you do your first deal, you're like, oh my gosh, I did it. Cody Hofhine just did this deal. Now it was like, even if I made $2,000 on that and my next marketing bill was $5,000 and I didn't have the money, I'd be like, get a 0% interest card. I don't care. Put all $5,000 in. Like, it worked. I just did it. I just proved I did it. And you go into it with a whole new confidence. You go into it with a whole new excitement. You're no longer doubting it. You're no longer running on faith. It's a fact. At that point, it changed everything. So deal 2, I think, is actually really easy. And the ongoing deals, deal 1 is your hardest one because you're going against all these fears, anxieties, all these different emotions that don't serve us.
Absolutely. Now, Cody, you're doing now other things. So, but what I do know is that you started a business with your partner, Mark.
Yep.
You guys were trying to ramp it up. And one thing that always sticks with me, and is a story that you told a long time ago, and I'm going to share it, is, you would start building a team and you realize that you had these A player talent come along, and then they left because you weren't your A player, self yet. Right. And then you decided to build yourself up to be that A player talent to attract, because that's actually what I went through as well.
Yeah.
And now I decided to build myself up, build a team. And the only reason I say this, because I really want to hit on that story of you building a team, because I actually, usually I don't talk this much, but because I got Cody Hofhine, I got to talk a little bit.
Hey, I love this. You keep going. You're nailing it, man.
I went out to Utah, and a while back, me and Zach Booth actually became really good buddies. And so I was out there with him hanging out, and I would always see, I saw all your ads, Utah Sell Now, Utah Sell Now. So obviously you guys grew that. Matter of fact, we use, and because of Brandon Bateman, right? Me and Brandon Bateman are actually really good buddies now too. We're actually going to probably start a little business on the side. So kind of excited about that.
That's awesome.
But anyway, so back to your business, your wholesale business at the time. And again, we'll talk about what you're doing now, but your wholesale business became a animal in your own market. How did you start building it? Where's that? What happened to that? And where is it now?
Yeah. You brought up some great points. Maybe I'll just touch on a bit. And that is, we want, first and foremost, it's where do you want to go with this business? Some people are okay with 1 or 2 deals a month.
Right.
And there's nothing wrong with that. Like, it's just, some people are like, yeah, I'm fine with 1, 2 deals a month if this is enough. And I don't really want to build a whole team. I'm okay with that. Like, I think kudos for them knowing that with certainty, and then just execute accordingly. I did want to build a business. I did want to have a team around me. I remember this stood out from John Maxwell. He says, don't show me your dream, show me your team. Because if you have the right team, you can accomplish any dream. So he's a dear friend of mine. Just a few months ago, I was having lunch with him in Florida, and he keeps reiterating, show me your team. And that's the whole point. You can accomplish any dream when you have the right team. However, if we're not prepared, like you said, you may not find the A players. You might be able to convert an A player, but they may not stay around too long because they're looking for A leaders. So I tie this for a couple things. And that is, I think of one of my first personal development books I read that got me really excited was Darren Hardy's The Compound Effect. Because he shares this little thing about like a 40-page document he wrote. And he wrote about how he wants his wife. Like, wife's going to look like this. She's going to love these hobbies. She's going to be this. She's going to have this color of hair, this color of eyes. And he wrote a 40-page document. And then he goes to Jim Rohn's event. And Jim Rohn says, you can have anything you want in life as long as you're willing to do what it takes and become the person worthy of the thing that you want. And all of a sudden he had this aha moment. He's like, wait a second, I'm doing this wrong. Here I am looking for this woman. Really what I should be doing is, what does a woman of this caliber want in a husband? And so he made a 40-page document about, okay, the woman like this caliber would want a husband that's this, 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 this. And he wrote this 40-page document. And then he just started working on that, becoming that person. And he said within 2 or 3 years, he magically, coincidentally, not coincidentally, married the woman of his dreams. Why? Because he is willing to first become the person worthy of a woman of that caliber. So we have to fail through it. A couple things. So if you want your business to grow, don't wait for a perfect day and a perfect plan. I think the more you wait, the more you think that you need to maintain the leadership and ownership of, if you're good at acquisitions. Also, you're like, I'm not getting rid of acquisitions because just no one can do it better than me. Well, if you do that early in the game, you can start to see that 2 people doing acquisitions 80% better than you is still better than you doing it by yourself 100%. Yep. So you can always get better by hiring more people, but you also have to fail your way forward. The first person we hired is actually a flop. I mean, it was really, really bad. We hired someone because we didn't know how to hire. We just thought, oh yeah, you said you're excited and you want to do real estate. Welcome to the team. We didn't know any great hiring question. Yep. we failed our way forward, and we got better because, okay, next time, because that one worked out so bad, and because they did deals behind our back, how do we protect ourselves from the next time we do this? And what paperwork should we have in place to make sure that this doesn't happen? And you get better. So the couple things I want to do is encourage anyone listening, just fail your way forward. You're going to make mistakes. It's just like investments. You're going to have great investments. You're going to have bad investments, but don't ever call an employee a cost. They're not a cost. They're an investment. And yes, me and Mark have made bad investments, but we've also made some incredible investments. Team is everything, and they're not a cost. They're an investment. They should be making you money. They shouldn't be losing you money. That's a cost, but they do make you money. That's an investment. Investments make you money.
That's incredible. And I do come across a lot of people in this industry, that are okay doing this all themselves, not having a big team, slinging deals and stuff. And I feel like I've always been the outcast where I said, I do want to build a team to do this consistently and build that well-oiled machine.
Yeah.
And I think it's from the beginning of that quote you said by, was it not Jim Rohn? John Maxwell.
Yeah.
That made me, want to build that team, want to build that strong team. And you're absolutely right when it comes down to, because we've had those bad hires as well. But gosh, we have definitely fixed those mistakes, and we've gotten better over time. Matter of fact, just this morning we added a big thing to our hiring process, and that was a shadow day.
Yeah.
Shadow days have been huge. Instead of hiring them, realize they're not a fit, then you got to fire them. And then now they come in, they come into the office, they sit on the team meeting, they shadow our top acquisition person. Then we do a role play, and I mean, and then I have my other do some peer interview. So it's like a couple hour thing.
Yeah.
And we're able to see if this person is going to be a culture fit, if he's going to work hard, if he's asking questions, because they don't know when they're shadowing my top acquisition guy, they're still getting interviewed.
Yeah.
Because my top acquisition guy is going to tell me everything that he saw. So for example, this is just a side thing, is that so I guess the guy that came in this morning was doing some day trading, and he had his computer open. Instead of asking my acquisition guy some more deeper questions, he was doing something else on his computer. Are they scrolling on social media, or are they engaged? Are they taking notes? Right. So,
yeah.
So, okay. So you build this team. Is it still around?
It is. Yeah. So we consistently do that. I mean, I don't know, in its format. So I would work in that, right? I'd probably put, let's say 2 to 3 hours of my personal time is on that business. Mark's is probably double that. It's probably 5 hours. So we even have it so tuned in that over time, because we've been doing it now for 8 years, over time, you just continue to top grade and continue to get better talent. And the momentum just gets better where, again, as we're working on ourselves, Jim Rohn said it best, let's see, the income of a man or woman. So I'm trying to think of the exact verbiage so you can get a good quote, but it's basically no man's success or no man's income ever goes higher than their level of personal development. And you have to remember that if we want to chase income, you're going to be chasing it your whole life. But if you can switch your mindset and chase personal development, your income will follow. So that's what me and Mark's whole focus was. My whole focus still today is I still have a humble mindset. I still have the student mentality. The white belt mentality is one of the phrases I really love using. Is no matter if you're a black belt, still maintain a white belt mentality. Still be humble enough to know that you don't know it all. Still be a student, a lifelong learner, because as you're doing so, you continue to attract incredible talent. And then the friends of those friends start to say, hey, I want a job there now. And instead of just hiring people because you need to fill the spot, people are coming out to you. And when you find the A player, it's like, I'll move heaven and earth. Even if I don't need them at the time, I'll be like, there's a spot for you on this bus. We'll figure it out. It may take a month. It may take 2 months to find out what seat you're going to sit on in the bus. But I love the talent here. So let's get you on and let's welcome you to the team. And we've never gone wrong doing that either.
Incredible. So Cody, so we got the wholesale business still running it, and obviously the biggest, I mean, gosh, I'm seeing this thing called Joe Homebuyers everywhere. What's going on with that?
We got it right there. Yeah.
I mean, is that your main focus right now? I mean, where did that come from?
It is. It's again, these stepping stones. Wholesaling Inc. was so fun. It was so fun. I would be lying if I also didn't tell you it took a lot of hours. Now, because me and my wife have always had great relationship on what things are going to take to get things going and what businesses take what to keep it going. Wholesaling Inc. was one that we were both prepared, me and my wife. She knew I was going to be coaching. It's going to be long hours.
Right.
Because if you're in the coaching space, I just don't believe in being mediocre. I just don't. And for those that may get mad at that comment, I think there's too many mediocre coaches that call themselves coaches. And I'm not here to say anything bad about coaching as much as coaching deserves your best. Coaching deserves that if someone's going to invest their hard-earned money, that you're on the back end doing everything possible. There was times where people would call me at 7 at night, even though it wasn't even part of the program or part of the coach that we, or the course that we said, hey, you can call us whenever you want. We never promoted that. However, if someone needed help, we would never say no either. And so we would reach out to these individuals. Sometimes it'd be 8 p.m. And me and my wife just had great conversation. Just say, hey, if dad ever steps away at the table, we just knew that it was because someone really needed me. And I saw that that need was necessary. And my wife would never question me. She'd never be like, oh man, you just missed a dinner with our kids. We knew that we were serving another individual's family. And hopefully because of that hour, it'd make all the difference where they could go out and help more people in return. There's times where me and my wife would be on calls with individuals that the husband and wife are not at terms with wholesaling and with real estate, and the wife's not supportive. And I said, do you mind if I get my wife on the phone?
Wow.
So sometimes we'd be counselors. We wouldn't even be coaches. And it was just learning to love people and serve people. But there was a point where I was like, I know I've done my work. I know I've served people at a high level, but it's now time to put that same attention, focus, energy on my wife and my kids and be the best coach for them, the best husband, the best dad for them. And so that's why I sold in 2020, is so I could maintain. I would never want to go halfway on coaching. So is I'm either all in and keep going, or I'm out and I've got to sell. So I sold. With Joe Homebuyer, what's nice is I'm able to go deeper with people. So instead of casting the net wide and getting thousands of students across the nation to teach them how to do their first deal, we're at like 65 franchise locations right now, Joe Homebuyer, and they're family. I mean, we have a process now down in stat. It's not just wholesaling. It's really Joe Homebuyer's real estate investing. So wholesaling's one exit. Fix and flip, buy and hold. We dial in on all three of these, but more importantly, we're able to do it in a way where support, technology, like your process, your systems are helping do that. And because of it, it doesn't put the strain on family relationship. We built this in a way where we can go really deep with every individual. And I love it. It's been an incredible journey. Comes with its ups and downs. It comes with its growths, its pivots, its changes. But we plan on being the nationwide home buying name out there, Joe Homebuyer.
That's incredible. That is incredible. And I think you were the one who referenced this book back in the day, and what made me read it was the E-Myth. I mean, was that the book that made you want to create the franchise model?
It really, what it was is we still have a great process. We've always done well. And I don't say that from a braggadocious way. It's just, we've always done well because we've maintained why and how we do business. We're always there, humble, heart for others. And we're always there to be honest. If it's a bad deal, we don't sign the contract. We get out of the contract. We don't do the business. We're always there to serve them. If we can't take the seller to a better place, we just won't do business. We'll refer it to someone else that might be able to take them to that better place. Because we've maintained that, and because real estate should be done that way, where you're really there to just serve people and just solve and be a problem solver. And the byproduct is you get a home at a discount. Because we have a built process that's really good and is duplicatable, repeatable, we felt like it was still upon us to share those gifts, share those talents, but in a format that, again, would let us go deeper with individuals, not cast the net so wide. We're going to have less people in the franchise. I mean, this may grow to 250, 500 franchise locations. Who knows? But at the end of the day, it allows us to go really deep with them. It's just like family. And we've done it in a way that doesn't wear and tear on us and pull us away. We're still able to maintain that lifestyle that we truly want and serve still with these individuals.
What's your main focus now? So I know, because as far as I know, back in the day, when I followed you heavily, is, you had a couple rentals, you were building your wholesale business. Are you focused on building that, like a massive rental portfolio? Are you getting into commercial? Because just a little side note, I was out golfing. I think it was like the end of last year, and I was golfing with somebody, and you came up, and he said that, yeah, I think Cody Hofhine is doing a commercial and building a team doing something like that. So I personally don't know, but now that you're on here,
Jack, I'm going to ask.
I'm going to ask him now. So what are you going to, so, I mean, what do you do now? So now you have this amazing franchise business that you're adding so much value to. And matter of fact, if anybody wants to be a Joe Homebuyer's franchisee, like hit up Cody Hofhine immediately, because they're not going to steer you wrong. So now that that's up and running, I mean, what are you doing in your day to day?
Yeah, our day to day, I still, you know me, I'm a connector. I love connecting with people. I love the scariest of relationships where like, you could never get in the same room with that individual. I'm like, bring it on. Let's put it on my chart, and I'll do that today. So I still love connecting. Because of that, for example, yes, did get into commercial real estate, own about 100,000 square feet of office space in Houston. I own some here in Utah. And it's kind of on hold right now because you got the inflation, you got the interest rates. Interest rates for commercials probably 10% plus in most markets. It's at a freeze. I wouldn't say it's gone. It's going to be great. It's going to come back. And deals are starting to pop up a lot more frequently. But I partnered with great people too. Again, going back to that, why fail your way forward? There's people that are already in the destination you want to be at. Go surround yourself with those individuals. One of them is a dear friend of mine now, is Manny Koshman. A lot of people know him actually on YouTube for his Bugattis and his McLarens and all his cars. But that guy has done darn near $1 billion in commercial real estate. So hanging out with Manny and just becoming friends with him allowed me to learn from the best. So I didn't have to make the mistakes. Again, I'm really good at rip off and duplicate. I hate research and develop. I fail miserably at that. And so I just make sure I find myself, who are the key players? And then how do I find a way to serve them in a way that we can just become friends? Like, I'm not going to charge you for this. So Manny, for example, his sales floor, I ran the sales for Wholesaling Inc. to that whole entire floor. And so I got a hold of his team and saw how they were selling. And I thought, hey, here's a way that I could help and give back and help build their sales floor free of charge. So I didn't let Manny know about it. I didn't even tell him about it. I just took it upon myself to serve him at a high level. His team then tells and says, hey, Cody's been doing this with our team and the results have been great. Well, that puts me in the same room with Manny. Now here we are, dear friends later. And he's been on Zoom calls with our Joe Homebuyers, teaching him about commercial. Doesn't charge, even though he's $50,000 an hour. He doesn't charge that. We're friends. So that's what I do. I work on the high level relationships, find ways to help our Joes win at a higher level.
Yeah.
And then going back to rentals, we're actively buying in multiple markets. That's kind of the fun part with the franchise, is because we have 65, we're able to pick some of the top performing franchise owners and say, hey, if you come across deals, let me know about them. And we've been buying rentals in multiple states. In fact, this year we've added another 35 doors. I wouldn't say it's like, oh, let's just go add thousands of doors. There's a lot of investment and capital that still goes into building out Joe with all the technology and all the softwares and things like that. But yeah, we've added another 35 doors. We just recently last week closed on another 17 unit out of North Carolina.
Wow.
So we're still adding doors. At some point that will ramp up even more as we open into 3, 4, 5 markets, where right now we're just in a couple. So yeah, that's always something. Why? Because that's the money that keeps coming in when you stop working.
No, that's incredible. I mean, can I dig a little deep on the franchisee, like in their mindset real quick?
Please.
What does that look like? So, I mean, what does that model look like? And from the outside looking in, are they buying this franchise and you guys are doing PPC SEO at a high level? And then, or do you guys already have it running and they're getting the leads, they're locking up the deals? And then what does what does that percentage look like for them to win?
Great question. So in the franchise world, like the Subways, the Quiznos, and all the different little franchise world, there's always a term called royalty. Royalty to me, I've never liked the word royalty. Royalty just sounds like you're always in debt. You always owe me. You always owe me. Joe Homebuyer, we've thought about it in a way of, yes, but if you can switch the word out, and it's not for everyone, first and foremost, but for those that are like, hey, even current wholesaling businesses or current real estate investing businesses where they're like, hey, I'm doing 2, 3, 400,000, 500,000. We've had people that have been doing 750,000, but like, I just feel like I'm at a cap, or they feel like their environment is not with the right people. And so they want to tap into a community. The Joe community is a strong community. Because of community, they're able to elevate their business, but more importantly, tap into a process. At that point, when you're doing 500K and you're saying, I want to get to 1 million, we're talking little tweaks. And so
100%.
I look at royalty as you get to partner with me and Mark for anywhere from 9 to 7%. So 7 to 9% of your business, meaning at the very beginning, until you hit your threshold, it's 9% of each deal. And then it goes down to 7% once you hit past that threshold. And so a lot of people, when they're looking at it, they're like, man, why would I want to pay a royalty? Again, it's not for everyone, but we've had individuals, because they've done so much better with their revenue that they've multiplied their business. They don't even taste what's called the royalty or the partnership, where most partnerships are a 50-50, right? We're saying you get a partner with me and Mark anywhere from 7 to 9% of your business. And we're dedicated to say, where are you at currently? Let's get you going. And we're going to get the roadmap and the blueprint. Why? Because you're partnering with us. We want you to win.
Right.
And in that reason, people aren't tasting the royalty that are coming to us. But again, our biggest avatar that we're looking for, the current real estate investors that just want to maximize how much more they want to bring in, how much more they want to make. And we do it from like a holistic approach. I have like our Joe journal. Here's something to think of, like what makes a little difference. What is it we're doing at Joe that's different? It's because we bring in personal development. Every Thursday at 9 o'clock, it's me for a half hour with every one of our franchise owners and their whole teams. And we're going over just a bite-sized video, usually from one of our mentors. Right now, we're going through a series of Robin Sharma, who happens to be one of my dear friends and mentors, just on a phone call with him today. And I share a little bite-sized 5-minute video, and then we spend 25 minutes discussing, hey, how do we apply this? Hey, who has applied this already? What kind of results are you getting? And you start to see the community elevate everyone and inspire everyone to be like, well, if so-and-so's doing it, I should do it. And it's because of principle of personal development that they're actually winning on the business. And that's what we want to make sure is crystal clear at Joe Homebuyer. Quit chasing the business. Let's just get better and watch what happens to your business. The journal, for example, every single day, I know I'm going to start off with 3 things of gratitude. I'm going to think of one thing that I want to work on for my personal development, and then I'll put a little plan of how I can do that. And then 3 big needle movers. So in my business, I'm going to write down for the day, like, okay, these are 3 needle movers, and I cannot rest my head on my pillow till these are done. Then at nighttime, I flip it over and I write down my strengths and my wins for that day. I write down what I learned. We take time to reflect. Remember how John Maxwell, everyone says experience is the mother of all learning. He says, no, it's not. Experience, he's all reflected experience is the mother of all learning. He says, if simply experience was the mother of all learning, every 80-year-old should be able to just pour wisdom on us. But there's so many that haven't reflected on their experiences that they just have no value to give you. So it's that reflection. It's that time saying, okay, why did I win? Kobe Bryant spent more time on why they won more than they lost. Lost kind of forces you to think, okay, we did something wrong. How do we correct that? Most people, when they win, they don't reflect upon that. And because of it, they rest on their laurels, right? This comes from back in like the Roman Empire days. When you would win as a gladiator, they put laurels on your head to remind you, don't rest on your laurels. You have a next fight the next day, someone bigger and better. You've got to get bigger and better yourself. We have to not get complacent. So that reflection allows us to reflect on why did we win so that we keep winning. And then one thing that I can improve on. That's every day. Every one of our Joes writing these journals because we want personal development to be so ingrained in every one of our Joe Homebuyer franchisees.
That's incredible, Cody. I love that. Why did I win? Oh my gosh. Like I was just in the past month, we had a little downturn about just some things in life. Right. And I said, and I kept telling my wife, I said, hey, so I said, let's extract all these lessons. And then we definitely applied them and everything's fine now. But the same fact and the same accord, why did we win to keep it going? I mean, that's incredible. That's a big gold nugget right there.
Right.
I got 2 more things, Cody, and I'll let you go. Let me ask you this. Before we jump on the show, I always like to tell you the purpose. And the purpose of this show is definitely what we saw last quarter. People really struggling when we saw the market shift. And guess what? The market's going to keep shifting. That's just what it does. It's going to do that forever, right?
Yeah.
But what are you doing right now? This is a big question I've been asking my guests. What are you doing now to get through these times? Like, what did you do? I mean, things are kind of leveling out, but what are some of your strategies to get through this time to come out even stronger on the other side of where we're going through?
Man, that's a good question. And this will be ongoing, by the way. But let me share one strategy that we were doing last year because we saw. So that's the cool thing about Joe Homebuyer. We have collective data. We're all in the same CRM. So that was the hard thing about Wholesaling Inc. is everyone is on their own platform. There was no collective data in a coaching program. I don't know what anyone's doing. Any of my students have no idea what they're doing, have no idea what mail piece they're sending out, have no idea what list it is, how old the homeowner is. We now have collective data. And now we're getting very granular specific, like what was the age of the home? What was the age of the homeowner? Now, because of that, we have collective data that say, hey guys, right now this list is hitting. I want everyone to send out this mail to this list right now, or this marketing channel is working better than this one. So right now I want you to double down on this because we can see it real time nationwide. Now, one of the things that was last year's pivot, before everyone started feeling the pinch, which everyone felt of the cash buyers, there was that moment where all of a sudden it was like, man, I'm having 20 people show up to my inspection. Then all of a sudden a week later is like 0.
A week later, yeah.
Cancel the contract, right? We were seeing that probably 4 months before. We are already starting to see the freeze because we were seeing that's one of our metrics. How many people are showing up? And we saw the metric drastically drop. And in most people's eyes, they wouldn't have saw it. They'd have been like, oh, on this deal I had 20, on this deal I had 17. And you wouldn't think anything of it. Well, 20 to 17 on 65 franchisees, that's a problem when you start to see a drop naturally through everyone. So what was our transition? What was our pivot before everyone else? Is you have to get back to the mentality. Now we're dispo managers where they were just sending out an email blast and it was like game over. You had 20 people show up, you had a price go over, asking price, and it was just easy. It was just an email and then a couple texts and it's like, move that property, it's done. It's no longer that. We knew this 4 months before everyone started feeling the pinch. And so what we started to do is you have to learn from some of the successes out there. Now, I don't eat this food because it's not great for us, but McDonald's teaches you something great. McDonald's teaches you that they're not in the burger business. They're not in the drink business, even though they sell more Coca-Cola than Coca-Cola themselves. Like they sell a lot of business. They're not a burger company. That's where I think we're always seeing this like, man, their burgers stink. They do. Anyone can make a better burger than McDonald's, but what they sell is actually happiness. And because of that, they named the number one selling burger or meal a Happy Meal, right? They call it a Happy Meal. So people are like, oh my gosh, I'm just going to get this burger because it's a Happy Meal. Kids are like, I want to be happy. I need a Happy Meal, right? And you go and get the Happy Meal. They don't sell Coke. If you see their commercials, they say we sell Coke and a smile, right? They've even attached a sugar-loaded drink to a smile. They sell happiness. They don't sell Coke. They don't sell burgers. So we started thinking, how do we get ahead of this? How do we begin to sell happiness? Now it's more of an acquisitions role at this temporary moment when there's that freeze. They're like, I don't know what I want to do with my money right now. I'm going to wait and see if this is kind of a repeat of 08. They have many reasons to freeze their money. Well, instead of a disposition manager that normally has the mindset of just process driven and not really sales driven, we put some acquisition managers on it and said, hey, I want you to call through all of our lists. And your goal is you call until 20 people have said, I'm showing up to the inspection. And we were selling happiness. Hey, Jim, good to see you. Hey, yes. It's been so long since I talked to you. Okay. So Jim, did you see the deal at 123 Main Street? No, but typically, Cody, you and your team, you guys get so much more money that I've never been able to buy a deal from you from a couple of years. Jim, the tides have shifted, my friend. I think this is a fantastic deal for you to go look at. And guess what? The prices aren't coming in just like they used to. I think this is Jim's time to start picking up some more properties from Cody Hofhine. Dude, Cody, thanks for a reminder. Yeah, count me in. I'll see you at the appointment. Cool. See you there. Right? And we're selling happiness. Why? We need 20 sets of eyes minimum on each inspection so that we can keep creating why they need to go on properties. And then when they go on properties, they're like, man, I'm excited again. I'm in a property again. And yes, I think I can buy this. And they start making offers. Well, we knew this before everyone else. And we still have pivots today that we're already learning that are coming up that I haven't even shared with my Joes. Otherwise, I'd bring it up on the podcast. But at the end of the day, yeah, it's crucial that when the cheese is being moved, we can't just sit there and wait for the cheese to come back. We've got to go move and find new cheese.
Yeah, man, that was a gold nugget right there. That was huge. Thank you so much, Cody, for sharing that.
Absolutely.
So that being said, Cody, I mean, where you're at, obviously you're still growing, you're still getting mentors, you're still getting coaches. What are you now reading and listening to that just inspires you to keep going every single day?
Do you want like current books that I'm just reading right now? Because I I read a book probably a week, but the current book I'm reading is Stillness is the Key by Ryan Holiday. It's his newest book, and it is phenomenal. The book I listen to, so I call it just my education along the road. Everyone drives on statistically on standard. So this is the average. People drive about an hour a day to and from work. An hour. An hour is a lot of time that you could either scroll through the disaster called social media, or you can be training yourself. An hour a day times 365 hours a year you could actually do. That's more than any university degree, first and foremost. So think about what you're doing. That book right now that I'm in Audible is Green Lights by Matthew McConaughey, and it is phenomenal. Like that guy, why I think I love the Audible better than the book, because it's him, and because he's an actor, he knows how to, like, I mean, you're captivated. You're like, dude, this guy's the best storyteller I've ever listened to, where most people are just authors. This dude is an actor reading his book, and it's been awesome. So Green Lights, and it's taught me some incredible things about his background. And I'm like, man, I'm pretty dang fortunate. This guy sees how fortunate he was with an upbringing that will just blow your mind, how he even turned out. And it gives you gratitude moments, and it gets you in a mindset of like, you know what, we're built for change. We're built for able to do good. Like it's up to us. No one's going to move our feet. But if we can cut our excuses in half and triple down on our action, we can accomplish anything.
That's incredible. I'm definitely have to check out that book myself. One thing I do is I do listen to audio very rarely, and then I usually read books. It's usually the books that I read are the ones that are just kind of like meat, and then I want to like highlight and circle. And it's the stories that I'll put on Audible. So like, for example, I'm listening to Extreme Ownership, because you got a lot of stories in it. So I'll just Jocko. And then the one I'm reading is the Leaky Buckets in Your Business. Great book. I'm learning so much from that, but definitely that sounds like a good listen.
Yes. Great listen.
All right, Cody. So I'll let you go here. Are you, where can we find you? Are you doing any coaching still? I mean, where can we find you?
So I consult businesses for sure. I have a handful of clients that I take on a year. This would be upper end, so it wouldn't be any beginning, unfortunately. I do have content always going out daily now. I'm awful at social media. I don't like social media. But I do see that there's a value in when you have something that can bless or change someone's life. Like I owe it to step it up. Now that doesn't mean I touch it. I have a media company that does everything for me, because it wouldn't be consistent, and it definitely wouldn't look like what it looks like. So I now have consistent reels going out every single day on every one of my platforms. You can find me on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok. And I don't even have my login. This is how funny this is for everyone listening. I don't even know my login. They had to build my account. I've never been on TikTok. That's why I called it TikTok. Like, this is how bad it is. And then a couple other social medias that they had to build, because I'm like, I'm just not active in it. So you can catch me pretty much anywhere. Message me. I put your comments in on the different posts, and you'll see that it is me. Now, I don't hire them to make my post or my comments. I do that. Right. So I do like to connect with my audience. So if you're part of my audience, you'll get my time, and you'll see that those are just there to just add gold nuggets. It's not there to sell anything. There's nothing for sale. I don't coach anymore. This is just gold nuggets to help bless people's lives.
Absolutely. Cody, again, I can't thank you enough for responding to us so we could get all this value that you're dropping today. Also, you're the very person that taught me at a very young entrepreneurial way, because I had this 9 to 5. I was a fireman. I didn't know really much on this side of business, but it was you who told me that if you want to reach out to somebody who's doing amazing things, such as yourself, lead with value.
Yeah.
And then you could have, it's not the, hey, let me take out the lunch, or hey, let me have a coffee with you. It's, hey, how can I serve you in your business? And then you could get the gold nuggets. But Cody, you came on this podcast, free of charge. And again, we couldn't be more thankful to have you on here. You've definitely changed my life personally, dramatically. So again, thank you so much. Again, if you want to reach out to Cody, probably reach out to his team. All right, guys.
Message me.
There you go. Message them. All right. Hey, we'll get you next time on the Real Estate Block Podcast.